Good morning and welcome to Wake Up with Marci. It's time to be inspired, empowered, and learn to live our happiest lives. We do this through stories of hope, celebrity inspiration, education, and resources. Today, we first meet our official intuitive business expert, Kim Woods. She will teach us how to listen and trust our intuition, which is that inner voice that is guiding us through life. Next, we hear a true story of inspiration. We will meet mother-daughter duo Samantha and Nicole Senia. We discuss sobriety, strength, and hope, and their podcast, The Power of We. We then sit down with Dr. Bill Cole, functional medicine expert and founder of the Key Cellular Nutrition and Cellular Health Accelerator program. He educates us on the connection between stress, inflammation, and chronic pain. Finally, we meet Carol Stern, the wife of Gary Stern, and we discuss the subject of the upcoming biography, Ripped Apart, Living Misdiagnosed, a true story of one of the largest medical malpractice awards in U.S. history. She shares her story to help others find their voice in the medical system and to be our very own advocates. Now let's meet our guests. Kim, welcome back to Wake Up with Marci.
It's so great to be here, Marci. Thanks for having me again. I can't wait to dive in with you.
I know. Today we're going to talk about intuition in business and in life. So how wonderful is that? But Kim, what is intuition?
I know, intuition. So everybody's intuitive, and yet you can't see. It's something that is an inkling or a nudge or a whisper, and there's no physical, tangible evidence. So people doubt it. So people will say, "Oh, I don't have an intuition. I don't know how to, step into my intuition." And I say, everybody is intuitive, and it starts with your instincts.
Okay. And so it's like listen to your gut kind of thing. That's what they're talking about?
Absolutely. And the instinct is easier to dive into because instinct is a yes or a no answer. Should I go this way in traffic? Should I bring an umbrella today? Should I hire this person? Should I step on the elevator? And you'll get that nudge of a yes or a no. And everybody can remember a time where that has happened to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, why didn't I listen to myself? You knew, right?
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about using intuition in business. And I know that you help a lot of people to change their mindset with that. So can you elaborate and help the audience to understand that?
Absolutely. In business, we want to be using our intuition, whether to hire somebody, to launch or promote a product at a particular time, to say yes to an opportunity. So really, we want to create space and give ourselves the ability to listen to ourselves as to whether that we would want to do that or not. So we want to use our intuition almost like an advisor or a guide, and have it with us on those big decisions, but also on those little decisions, delegating and working on certain tasks or whatnot. And when you use it in business, it really helps improve your bottom line.
So you said give yourself space. How do you do that?
Oh, yeah, here's the thing. Okay, so people are going to do a mental eye roll, but that's okay. Persevere, because really the best way to do it is to meditate. So and breathing. So everybody take a deep breath, right? So we have a lot of guided meditations because the mind is so active, it's hard to quiet the mind. So one way to do it is you follow somebody's words and you follow their advice. And when you're doing that, you just take those moments and you just get calm and you just create a little bit more space and you can allow those whispers in. But I will tell you the best way is we've developed these intuition oracle cards, because that way it gives your mind a job, and we'll pick a card for daily inspiration. So we'll show you how that's done. But, you use those cards. So it gives your mind something to ruminate, ponder, bask in, marinate, and that creates.
I love that. And I want to just talk about, we did an Instagram live. I have the Hump Day Hope, and thank you for coming on. One of the things that we talked about when we were discussing intuition, and I loved, is that you said when you start to listen to your intuition, you like build it like a muscle. So
Absolutely.
can you share a little more about that?
Absolutely. Every single time you say yes to your intuition, where you get that nudge and you follow it, your intuition gets louder. It starts to speak to you more because it has space to do that. And as it does, all of a sudden you realize that you're actually having a conversation with your intuition on a regular basis. And now think about it as having the best guide on the planet with you at all times. It's amazing.
Yourself. Yeah. So
Exactly.
let's talk about these daily inspiration cards that you were sharing about, and let's pull one.
Absolutely. Okay. So I pulled one before we got on, and it is a beautiful, it's the harvest card. And so there's a number 12 there. There's a beautiful like banquet, a bounty. And then on the bottom, it says, say yes to receiving the gifts in your life. And so here's the thing, Marci, we're not really programmed to receive well, right?
Yeah.
So for the listeners out there and the viewers out there that yes, it's gender neutral, but yet most women have trouble saying yes to receiving because we're used to giving. We're pretty much programmed to do that. And so what we want to do is we want to start the day with just a minute of gratitude. I am so thankful for, and you can fill in the blank. That's going to create a little bit of opening, but then you want to start really opening up to opportunities. And what I like to say is, don't have any expectations about them. Be committed to receiving, but don't expect, well, I think it's going to be this person at this time. Because if you're looking this way, and I'm going to look away, like if you're looking this way and the opportunity comes the other way, you might miss it.
Right, so right. That makes so much sense, Kim. I'm so sorry. We got to wrap up. Time goes so fast. I love when you're on and we talk about this. Just really quick, I want to, if you can share where we can find you for more information. And I think you have a date to share, like, you know, these forecast dates, what we should be doing during that time. Absolutely. So if you can just share that real quick.
Absolutely. Best days of November are the 1st, the 15th, and the entire last week of November. Yay. And you can find me at kimwoods.com. You can get the cards at getmyintuitioncards.com. And on Insta and Facebook, it's Kim Woods Channel.
All right, Kim. Well, thank you so much again. And we'll see you next month. And you're just always amazing. So thank you again, Kim, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Marci.
Next up, we meet mother-daughter duo Samantha and Nicole Senia. They share with us their sobriety journey and their new podcast, The Power of We. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Nicole. Welcome to Wake Up with Marci.
Hi, Marci. Oh my gosh, Marci. We're so excited to be here.
So grateful to be here. Thank you for having us on your show.
Let me tell you, it is Recovery Month, and I'm grateful for all of those that have come on, and your story is so incredible. And first of all, I want to point out that you are mother and daughter. So stunning. Look at the two of you.
Well, thank you.
And you both have been through quite a road of recovery, and it's brought you to this place. So tell us a little bit about your journeys and how it has brought you to this place and what it has taught you.
Well, I'm Samantha and I'm the mother, and this journey has been incredible. I got divorced about 12 years ago, and when I got divorced, I decided I was going to, meet my friends for a drink and have a glass of wine when things were, crazy. And that turned into 1, 2, 3 drinks, and it wasn't a pretty sight. And basically what happened to me is I started to lose myself, and I wasn't there for my kids. And so I made bad decisions. I made horrible choices, and I changed as a person. I stopped working on me, and I became what you would call an alcoholic. Not only did I become an alcoholic, but I was teaching my kids to become alcoholics. And that was really hard. And I guess basically the last part of my journey was I was, not paying attention to them. I was not present with them. And I went out one last night and I went dancing and I ran into one of my son's friends and it makes me cry. He said, he ran into me and I thought I was having the best time. We were doing shots together. And all I know, the next morning I woke up and I opened my eyes and I went, this time I pushed it too far. And I got a call from my son and he said, Mom, if you don't stop drinking and go to rehab, I'm never going to speak to you again. And that moment changed my life.
Incredible. And how about you, Nicole?
Well, growing up with an alcoholic mom, I always watched the way she would drink to cope with her emotions. And that's something that I was aware of from a young age. And I always told myself I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I didn't want to be like my mom because I knew what it looked like to be an alcoholic. And I knew that's not the road I wanted to go down. So I stayed away from drugs and alcohol actually when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And then when I got to college, that's when my drinking and using really began for me. I didn't feel like I fit in college. I didn't feel comfortable in my body. It was the first time I was really on my own. I needed something to feel okay. So that's when I started drinking, and I was taking a lot of drugs because especially at the college I went to, and honestly all the colleges, the party culture is really prevalent. Mm-hmm. And it's like you go to a party and it's normalized to take an ecstasy pill or snort a line of cocaine. Like that's what's normalized. So I ended up doing all that. And then I was telling myself it was okay because everyone else around me was doing it. So I normalized that. And it got to a point where I wasn't able to wake up out of bed without taking an Adderall to get through my day and like smoking weed. And it was a consistent pattern of me using to feel okay or to get through the day.
Yeah.
That's how I knew I really had a problem. And
what worked for you? How did you turn it around, and what worked for you, Nicole?
I ended up going to a program it's a 12-step program, and that's the one thing that's helped me stay sober. I mean, it's very consistent. I go to meetings every single day. I talk to my sponsor every day. I have people in my recovery program who I can look up to and guide me on my journey. And I have a higher power that has really guided me here because I wake up every day. I meditate. I talk to my higher power. I ask God what I can do in my life, like to guide me in my life, to show me how I can be beneficial to other people. I tried to stay out of my own way so that I can really like be.
Yeah. Nicole, you're speaking my language. I do the same, and that's exactly what worked for me. So I'm about to, celebrate 6 years, and that brings me to your podcast. But that brings me to your podcast, Power of We, because thank you for having me on your show and just really crushing it and exposing addiction. And how you can help, the help that's available, fighting against the stigma. And so why don't you tell us really quick about the power of we and the power that has brought the two of you together?
Well, the power of we is really about empowerment. It's about being together. It's about creating unity. Nicole and I started this because of our amazing publicist. She came to me and said, we want to help you guys. I went to her actually to do something else, to have her help us with something else. And she said, no, I want to tell your story because it will help so many people. And, I come from an empowering world. I'm a CEO and I empower a lot of women, but when I wasn't helping myself, and now I've helped my children and watching them. And now we can touch so many people and make them feel like they're not alone.
And that's right. That's really why we started this podcast, because we wanted to create a safe space where listeners could come and feel like they're not alone. Because I know when I was using, I felt like I was like the only alcoholic. And so we really wanted to create that space for everyone to listen and just feel like they can be okay and listen to the truth of alcohol.
And what I love also is that you give the two generational perspectives.
Right.
So important.
Thank you.
So the two of you are absolutely beautiful inside and out. And I know it was a long road to get to that place. The fact that you're sharing your story, yes, is helping so many people. And now that you have your podcast and you have others that are on there, just like I do, to help others, like you're saying, not to be alone, breaking that stigma. How can you get through it? Living in your truth, all the ways we can get through addiction. So want to congratulate you both on where you're at today and how you're helping other people, and with your podcast, The Power of We. So where can we find it?
Thank you so much for saying that. So you guys can find it on all platforms, all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can also go to our website. It is thepowerofwelive.com, and that has information about us, and all the podcasts will be on there as well. So, yeah.
All right, ladies. Love you, girls. Thank you so
much.
much.
You're amazing. And you've helped so many people. Just to be on your show is incredible. We watch you all the time, and seriously, you empower us as well.
You're amazing. And congrats on 6 years.
Thank you. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Next up, we meet Dr. Bill Cole, functional medicine expert. He educates us on the connection between stress, inflammation, and chronic pain. We also meet Carol Stern. She shares with us about the book, Ripped Apart, Living Misdiagnosed, which is a true story of one of the largest medical malpractice awards in U.S. history. Hello, Dr. Cole. Welcome to Wake Up with Marci.
Hi, Marci. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you're a functional medicine expert. Can you tell us real quick what that means?
Yeah, I mean, compared to allopathic medicine, functional medicine, we're really interested in the cause of why somebody might have a problem, not merely treating the symptoms of the problem.
Wonderful. I think that's good to get to the root of the problem.
For sure.
And stress, like that is a huge one. I mean, I feel like we're all living under stress. So how does stress really affect our body, and why is that?
Yeah, it's a good question, Marci, but I think it has to be delineated that stress is not just emotional stress, which is what we all think of when we think of stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's physical stress, like maybe the guy who's hunched over a desk all day long, day after day, right? Or there's chemical stress, like a person who's exposed to a bad diet or toxins. Your body really doesn't differentiate between the stresses. It essentially responds the same when there's too much stress, and then you wind up with all of the bad things that happen from that.
Exactly. And one of those things is inflammation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's just like it causes so much damage, and I don't think we think about it so much. So why is that?
Yeah, well, the natural response to stress is to do things like raise cortisol levels in the body, to raise insulin levels in the body. And by nature, they're inflammatory. And the issue is that inflammation, like stress, is not necessarily a bad thing. Stress by itself, you can have good stress, right? You can have somebody working out. That's a stress, and that helps a person get stronger. Too much of that, you can overtrain, and then you wind up having negative impact, right? Well, inflammation is the very same way. Your body naturally responds to infection and to damage with inflammation. It helps to repair us. It helps to wall that area off and really give it a chance to heal. But when it's constant, when it's daily, or when it's too much over a short period of time, it has some really negative, deleterious impact in the body. Inflammation is the result of damage, right? So whenever our cells, and that's what we primarily deal with because we're made of cells, when our cells are damaged, they become inflamed. Now that creates a barrier where good things like nutrients and hormones and oxygen can't get into the cell. And then the waste that our cell makes just through living can't get out. And so our cells really become like a toxic cesspool, and it creates dysfunction. Dysfunction is the beginning of all disease. And we know that starts with inflammation.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the sources of inflammation and things we can avoid.
Yeah, there are things that are obvious and maybe not so obvious. The obvious ones are things we've heard about all the time. Sugar, right? Too much sugar. The average person eats 150 pounds of sugar in a year. Used to be 10 pounds per family. And then it's bad fats, these denatured fats, vegetable oil, corn oil, trans fats, hydrogenated oils. They drive inflammation. A big one, Marci, is toxins. Whether it's the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the medications we take. The Environmental Working Group looked at females in the United States and found out that they're exposed to 168 different toxins just in their beauty products alone. And then their stress that we talked about, their sleep is a big issue too, and then things like nutrient deficiencies. Those things all will drive inflammation and damage.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we could talk about that all day long.
I can talk about it all day long.
So let's talk about your program, the CHA program, and how that is helping us.
Yeah, I think we're really unique. I did for many, many years. I've been doing this almost 4 decades. I thought I was getting to the root cause, but essentially we were using supplements to do what the medical doctors use medications for, right? Treating symptoms. Well, the root cause has everything to do with our cells. Our motto is if a person wants to be well, they have to have healthy cells. And that's our focus. We're made of cells. And so we address that cellular issue by identifying these underlying triggers that drive that stress and inflammation. And then we create an environment in the body that is supportive of healing. And the beautiful thing about it is that we have a body made to heal. Right? If I get cut with a knife, instantly my body starts the process of healing that cut. There isn't a doctor, a researcher, a scientist, a drug, or a supplement that can duplicate that. So we have that working for us. All we need to do is get rid of those triggers, create an environment that supports that, and then we see that.
Wow. So how can we find you so we can find more information if somebody wants to get involved with your program?
Yeah. So I'm really bad at technology, so I have to look down if you don't mind when I do.
No. Okay.
You can go to drbillcole.com. You can go to coleclass.com. And then we have our Facebook page is facebook.com/Dr. Bill Cole.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you for all that you do, because it sounds like we need a lot of help in this area. So thank you so much, Dr. Cole, for coming on.
Sure. It was my pleasure. Great talking with you. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Carol, welcome to Wake Up with Marci.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming on to Wake Up, telling your story and helping others out there. And we're going to talk about your book, Ripped Apart, Living Misdiagnosed, and medical malpractice. One of the things I want to talk about is, what is the biggest misconception about medical malpractice?
I believe the biggest one is people put doctors on pedestals and they think they're gods and they have all the answers, and they don't. And you have to trust in yourself more so than you trust in the doctors. And doctors feel like the first thing they do when they make a mistake is they're thinking lawsuit. You shouldn't think lawsuit. You should think, I made a mistake, let's correct it and move on. But by covering it up, that's when things really go from bad to worse. And it happens every day. They're so busy trying not to get sued, they're going to get sued.
Let's talk about why this is so important to you and your story. And also, you've written a book. So tell us why getting your story out now is so important.
There are so many things going on in America and everywhere else. And people make mistakes. They're human. And we have to move forward from that. When it came to my husband, he went into emergency room. The doctors didn't listen to him. They assumed they knew what was wrong, even though the test didn't show that. So what they did was treated him for Crohn's when it wasn't. The medication made my husband worse. They ended up doing exploratories, which made things worse. My husband's intestines ended up being on the outside of his body for over 3 years. And he didn't eat or drink anything. Everything was IV form. Nothing could go into his intestinal tract. I had to take him home, take care of him like that. I thought doctors were making mistakes and covering them up instead of taking care of my husband. And it made me mad. And I started fighting harder and harder. If they weren't going to do it, I was going to do it myself. So I learned everything I could to do it. In this book is a guide for people, so hopefully they won't get misdiagnosed. And if they do, how to correct things a lot faster, how to fight.
And the book is Ripped Apart, Living Misdiagnosed. And that is all of your story and resources to help others, which is amazing. So what could you give some advice to someone out there that maybe has just received a major diagnosis, or maybe they are starting a malpractice suit themselves?
What you want to focus on is telling the truth, knowing that truth is on your side, and you go with that, and you don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Don't take no for an answer. If an attorney says, oh, you don't have a case, you research it and you find the right attorney. It'll tell you, yes, you have a case, and know that these doctors are messed up. But hopefully you don't have to come to that. I'm wanting my book to stop lawsuits. I don't think people should have to sue. Yeah. I think that if doctors owned up to their mistakes, insurance companies backed off so that they're not telling doctors what to do, then people wouldn't have to worry about lawsuits. They could just worry about getting better. And that's
right.
What's important.
That is what's so important. That's what that's what we want. So Carol, I can't thank you enough for coming on and helping others again through your story and for your book, Ripped Apart, Living Misdiagnosed, Carol. And I just wish you so much luck on your venture out there on educating others.
Thank you. And God bless you.
Thank you, Carol. Same to you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Wake Up with Marci today. Gosh, we learned so much valuable information. We just need to put it into practice. So I wanted to share with you guys that on Instagram, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time at host Marci Hawkins, I am continuing the discussion of recovery and giving you guys some midweek inspiration. It's called Hump Day Hope. I just had Kim Woods on and we were discussing energy work and intuition. It was really awesome. So I hope you'll join me there. And also, if you have a story, please share it with me. Go to my website at wakeupwithmarci.com, sign up for the email list, or just share a story and send me an email. I'd love to see you there. And I have all my old shows and information about upcoming guests. Please remember to be kind to yourself and kind to others, and have an amazing week. And I'll see you next Saturday.